Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am.
Come, please.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Please be seated.
Thank you, sir.
Are you comfortable?
Yes, sir.
So, Srushti, you want to be interviewed in English?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Srushti, please tell us about yourself, about your background, your hobbies, your extracurricular, what are your interest type?
So, my name is Srushti Jain. I have been born and brought up in Jabalpur, Madhya Pradesh. I've done my graduation in BE Computer Engineering from Indore, Deviya Hilla Vishwavidyalaya, Madhya Pradesh. So, my interest lies in, I work for self-development. For that, I practice Vipassana meditation for my mental well-being and Zumba activity for my physical well-being. The other interest and hobbies lies in, I try with new organic variety of baking, healthy baking varieties. And the others is I like to be socially active and interactive in all possible spheres. For that I have worked with a few NGOs, and currently I'm pursuing for the civil services examination.
Okay, Srushti, tell us, you have done from BE Computer Engineering.
Yes, sir.
Generally, people say is about computer science. What is this computer engineering?
So
What's
the
the
basic
difference?
thing is it's almost equivalent that computer engineering or computer science engineering. Computer engineering deals with both programming as well as hardware working, while computer science engineering solely dedicates a few subjects into, for example, data structures and database management system, solely dedicated for software development. So there is a minute difference in the subjects that are being taught in the 4 year of engineering course.
So here in this computer engineering, you are taught about hardware also.
Yes, sir. A little bit in the first year that we talk about electronics and that way, sir.
And you didn't do anything after that with this computer engineering?
No, sir. I done my graduation in 2020, and after that, I've been preparing for civil services itself.
Okay, and you were gold medalist in BE computer engineering.
Yes, sir.
Well, then why did you do this computer engineering then?
So, during my high school, I had a great interest in maths and science. So, I pursued my high school with that. And after that, I had an interest in computers and how things work, how the emerging technologies are doing nowadays. So, I thought it is a good option to pursue engineering. And ultimately, it develops the all round development, which I got the guidance for. And hence, I pursued the engineering stuff.
Okay, Srishti, these you must have heard about this cryptocurrency or digital currency which RBI has issued recently.
Yes, sir.
What is that? Is it different from cryptocurrency? What is that?
Yes. So the digital currency, known as a central bank digital currency, has been issued by the RBI. It is starkly different from the cryptocurrency that we talk about, because cryptocurrency has no sovereign backing. It is simply based on the blockchain technology, which is a digital, decentralized transaction node that everybody into the chain can look into. So the central bank digital currency is nothing but the physical currency that we have. It is in the digital form backed by the RBI. So it is being saved from the inflation and the fluctuation impacts that we can see, sir.
Inflation or fluctuation will be there even this also, isn't it? Indian rupee versus dollar, that will be affected even for the digital currency issued by
Yes, sir.
RBI, right?
Yes, sir. So the basic difference lies in the sovereign backing. So, for example, so the cryptocurrency are not regulated by anybody. So we saw as Elon Musk bought about declaring that cryptocurrency to be regulated or to be bought by him. So the prices peaked. But as soon as he got back his tweet, so the prices fluctuated drastically, sir. So that will not happen in central bank digital currency, as well as, sir, transparency in the cross-border transactions will also be regulated by the RBI, which is considered a threat.
But don't you think that will this also digital currency which has been issued by RBI, that is also on blockchain technology?
Yes, sir, that is also on blockchain technology.
But then what is the purpose? Blockchain technology, the whole purpose was basically that no centralized control. This is a distributed ledger, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then if RBI is controlling, what's the point?
So RBI is controlling. it is simply for the main purpose is digital inclusion, financial inclusion that we talk about in India. This is one of the steps amidst the wave of the cryptocurrency that we had seen. The resulting cyber crimes, the cyber security threats we face from the illegal cryptocurrency transaction. So this is one of the virtual digital asset that RBI wants to regulate so that adoption could be easier and no fear of theft could be there.
But who will go for this type of digital currency? Anybody who is going for the cryptocurrency, will they go for this digital currency? These are like
Yes, sir. So people are nowadays using UPI. So all of them are using financial transactions and digital inclusion. So it is none but it is just simply that there are no intermediary banks to be regulated. It is more easier the payment option. So, sir, I don't think there is harm in people adopting the central bank digital currency.
But you have UPI.
Yes,
or
sir.
you have all those credit card, debit card, net banking,
Yes,
where
sir.
you using transactions which you don't use physical money.
Yes, sir.
Then how it is different from UPI transaction vis-a-vis this digital currency?
So in the UPI transaction, it is sir, I can say it is a two-factor security authentication that whenever I want to, for example, transiting some money to you, I'll have to do it via the bank ATM servers, bank payment servers. Your bank payment server and mine will interact. But in the central bank digital currency, there would be no bank intermediary. That will be a digital wallet directly under the control of RBI, and I can transact to any other person, reducing the transaction cost. And so I'm not able to recall the term. It is known as the seigniorage. The amount of printing the cash currency would be drastically reduced, and we will be able to move from a less cash economy to a cashless economy that we aim for a new India developed at 2047, sir.
Okay, Shrusti, tell me another thing. These days we hear a lot about women's safety. That one woman was on the eve of New Year Eve or sometime New Year. She was dragged at late night. What do you think about women's safety? Is it a case of women's safety?
So this case, as you mentioned, is not per se the case of women's safety. That was a case of negligence while driving in the inebriated conditions that we hear about. But so talking about the women's safety issues that we face, yes, India is marred by this dark spot that women's safety lacks a lot here. But sir, in the pursuit of women's safety, there are various legislations. For example, POSH Act of 2013. Sir, against the sexual harassment, molestation, ranging from POXO Act to Domestic Violence Act, etc., sir. As well as there have been a lot of digitization and modernization in the surveillance. For example, CCTVs are being operated. Personalized chips are being operated for example, Zomato workers, for females working in the night. So we are taking steps in that direction. But I feel the whole loophole lies in the awareness and the gender sensitization in the society that we lack. So for attaining that women equality and gender safety, we need to ensure that the mass sensitization about the issue of gender respect and seeing women with the equal eye and respect is much needed, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Shrusti, you've heard of the International Solar Alliance?
Yes, ma'am.
What is it?
Ma'am, International Solar Alliance, it has been initiated by India, France, and recently launched at the COP26 summit by, yes, ma'am.
2015, no?
Yes, ma'am. It was launched in 2015, but yes, ma'am, upstaged in COP26, I meant to say. So, ma'am, it is a direction towards using solar energy and a move from shifting from non-renewable source of energy to renewable sources of energy.
Why has this got impetus? What is the importance of this, and why is everybody now trying to go in for renewable energy? What is the basic reason?
Ma'am, the basic reason is, I've heard the fact that currently we only come across utilizing 1.2% of the sun's energy being emitted globally. It is a move towards capturing solar energy and moving towards zero climate change or carbon neutrality that everybody is targeting. That is why it has got so much impotence nowadays.
And how feasible is it, you think? And they're giving certain targets, but how feasible is it?
Ma'am, it is feasible because we are giving such policies and the claims regarding it. For example, installation of We have included a national sustainable energy mission. In that, we are including move from renewable fossil fuel based to hydrogen fuel based electricity, and that would be charged by electrolysis powered by solar energy or wind energy. So we have provisions regarding that, although the target is a bit difficult to achieve in the short term, but definitely it is possible in the long term.
Are there any challenges you think to scaling up production from solar energy?
Yes,
to,
ma'am.
to where we want to go? Are there any challenges you think?
Yes, ma'am. The challenges definitely lie, first of all, in the critical components that are required to produce solar energy. For example, the photovoltaic solar cells, PV cells, we had a lot of dependence from China, importing that from China. But under the PLI scheme that we have launched under the Atmanirbhar Bharat package, so we are trying to manufacture it indigenously only. And for example, ma'am, PM Kusum scheme, we want to install solar rooftop panel, ma'am. So about that also, there is a little bit hesitant adoption by the farmers. So we need
Why are they hesitant?
ma'am, they are hesitant because currently they have diesel powered tractors because they are very cheap to them. But solar energy, initially the yield or the productivity would be low. Yes, ma'am. So it would be initially costly, but as we do the scaling.
We just had the Republic Day yesterday. Who was the chief guest?
Ma'am, the chief guest for the was the Egyptian president, Mr. I cannot recall the first name, but LCC.
CC, you can just give his name, yeah. CC,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
And, we've had very good relations always with Egypt. But in between, of course, it's been up and down. What do you know about India and Africa in general? It is part of Northern Africa and the Arab world. Egypt is sort of scaling both sides. So India and Africa, do you have any idea about our relationship and what should be our focus?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, Indian-African relationship has always been growing because India does a lot of support, the humanitarian assistance, the development partnerships. For example, the India-Japan has foreign development partnership in Africa. India has...
And how important is Africa in the world today, and particularly for India?
Yes, ma'am.
And why?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, the importance, in my limited knowledge, I think the importance lies...
Whatever you know. If you don't know, it's okay.
Ma'am. The importance lies because, ma'am, Africa was also colonized previously. So Indian independence and African independence was a major thing because our leader, Mr. Mahatma Gandhi, he also went to South Africa, helped a lot in their independence and nationalizing satyagraha movements. So we have a deep-rooted history also and relations with that. And apart from that, ma'am, it holds importance for the world because a lot of poverty, backwardness lies in some parts of Africa. For example, Nigeria, Niger, Sudan, they are not as developed as the other parts. So the global responsibility lies in developing that also. So I think...
why do you think it's important for the world? A lot of raw material, a lot of resources.
Yes, ma'am.
Human resources.
Yes, ma'am. Human resources, as you mentioned, as well as, ma'am, the natural resources. For example, yes, ma'am, iron ore, gold mines, etc. are very much found there. So various nations have outsourced the chemicals as well as the minerals. They are housing their power plants also there. So I think, ma'am, for the infrastructural development, the energy source, and to make our global supply chain resilient and networking in partnership with South Africa and other African nations. So their core lies with the Egypt also, because Egypt, as you mentioned, is that our path to Eurasia as well as the African nations, ma'am.
That's right. And so Egypt is an important partner for India, and we have had good relations, and this particular visit has further helped to strengthen it. And yesterday both of them have announced that they will upgrade it to a strategic partnership.
Yes, ma'am.
So make it even stronger than it is and sort of upgrade it. One last question I'd like to ask you. Do you think, you've taken sociology, so do you think sociology has any sort of important aspect or plays an important role in international relations? Or it could play, or it should play?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, sociology is basically the study of our society. We talk about any society, the institutions, structural institutions of a society. So Indian society has its institutions in the form of, ma'am, I would say the legal, judiciary.
No, social aspect of international relation. My question is,
yes, ma'am.
do you think they are interlinked? and it plays an important role in international relations, or it can play, or it
Yes,
should
ma'am.
play.
Yes, ma'am.
Sociology, yeah.
Ma'am, from sociology, the deep-rooted philosophy of relations, ethics, and people-to-people exchange in society that we study plays a lot of role in softer diplomacy of international relations. So our cultural relations with the other nations, our trade relations with the other nations hold roots from sociology. And Indian sociology is vastly based on the principles of ethics, peace, friendship, cooperation, and for example, we are developing various FTAs, etc., with the other nations. So they root from the branch of sociology, talking about the international relations, as far as I understand.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Please.
Shrusti? Shrusti or Shrusti?
So Shrusti.
Shrusti.
Okay. So you will
Shrusti.
excuse me. You are, computer engineering,
Yes, sir.
and you were also taught something about the hardware part of it. The DVD that we have been using now, it is not much in use. This is which form of memory?
So what? Which form of memory?
DVDs.
I cannot hear you.
DVD.
DVDs. Yes, sir.
Not much in use now, but
Yes, sir.
those are quite in use. Which form of memory is this?
So DVD is, I think, the secondary form of memory only. Yes, sir.
Something better?
Sir, I'll read more upon it. I've
Okay,
forgotten a
now,
lot.
Second thing, I will like to enlighten myself. There is this random access memory.
Yes, sir.
Hmm?
Sir, random access memory.
Please.
I have not completed my question. Random access memory. So for performing to speed up our device, we will look for higher random access memory. Like my mobile phone has 8 GB RAM. So is it limitless, or there is a limit to which we can take the RAM in a given device? Take the RAM higher in a given device.
Sir, I've heard the provisions that we can increase the RAM or the primary memory in a device. But sir, I'm not aware about how we can scale it. But initially, when the device comes, it is 8 GB RAM, 12 GB RAM, 16 GB RAM. It is initially limited, but we can later scale
If
it to.
you see this thing brochure or something, the company will declare that on-device memory is say 8 GB, and you can take it up by say another 8 GB or 4 GB. So why this limit?
Sir, I think initially the limit is put for processing the speed. The processor has a certain speed at which the efficiency could be easily delivered. For example, as we see the 8 GB memory, it is there, and as soon as we reach up to 7.5, 7.6 GB, the phone or the any device slows down its processing power. So, sir, I think the later expansion could be done, but initially for reaching the efficiency level, there is a limit, sir. I think.
Okay, you use laptop?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you may go to the task manager.
Yes.
So what will you look to speed up your laptop? Task manager.
Sir, I'll read more upon that, sir. I haven't focused much on that. I'll read upon that, sir.
Because you are a computer engineer.
Yes.
And I'm just asking some applied thing of.
Yes, sir.
You will be district magistrate. There may be some computerization program.
Yes, sir.
So the vendors will come up with all those kind of, their. So these are the things which, anyway, we will come to that later. You also said something about the cashless economy.
Yes, sir.
So see, in a developed country like ours, we have been fighting for universal literacy. कि सबसे कमजोर तबके के लोगों को भी लिखना और पढ़ना आ जाए. So there is a divide, literate and illiterate. Now we push digitization too fast. So we will have one more divide, digitally literate, digitally illiterate. So where do you think balance should lie?
Sir, as you rightly mentioned that we have already an existing literacy divide in India. Sir, in the fast pace of digitization, it will create digital divide. As of now, I'm aware about the 2021 statistics that say that digital literacy in India is only 27%. Yes, sir. So, pertaining to that digital divide, I think the balance should lie starting from the grassroots level of education, sir. So, the rural penetration of the digital devices, the mass scaling of the smart TVs, etc., and the creative, that is a digital literacy that we talk about. Our NEP envisions talking about digital literacy.
Okay, smart TV. You said something like a smart TV.
Yes, sir.
So if we propagate a smart TV a lot, so to whom are we promoting? We are promoting Netflix and Amazon Prime and all that.
So, smart TV, by smart TV, I mean, for example, teaching.
People buy a smart TV more to enjoy Netflix and or to understand Josimut episode.
Sir, I think here lies the roles of the teachers as well as the parents in regulating the content and the access to the students and the children that we talk about, sir.
Mhm.
Nowadays, there are provisions in the mobile devices also to regulate the access to.
Okay, now let us come to this thing, digital currency. The hard currency we keep all in our wallet, that is in our pocket. So it is physically secure. We know that wallet is in my pocket. Digital currency will lie where? कहाँ पे रखेंगे उसे?
So, there would be a digital wallet as I've read the RBI guidelines.
हाँ ठीक है, digital wallet.
Yes, sir.
Some DigiLock kind of thing.
Yes, sir. Sir, so digital wallet will store all of our credentials and it will generate a digital or a virtual ID. Through that, we can do our transactions. For example, nowadays we have virtual private addresses for UPI payments. The similar, we'll have the digital ID and a virtual ID through which we'll do our transactions. So our ultimate bank details,
Okay,
the
so
credentials.
there will be a digital wallet.
Yes, sir.
It will reside on your, most likely on your mobile phone.
Right, sir.
And what kind of population we have?
So 136.
Agrarian कितना है?
Sorry, sir.
Agrarian population कितना है?
Sir, around 70%.
70% are agrarian. And they enjoy what? Use smartphone for what?
So for entertainment.
Entertainment. So they access all kind of sites.
Right, sir.
So there is always chance of malware, or their devices may be full of malware at any given point in time. कभी भी अगर आप चेक करो तो आपको you will find them full of malware. Now you tell them to shift to digital currency. Store it on their smartphone. You think it will be a very prudent move?
Sir, it will be a prudent move in the long term. As we're aware that people are not still aware that once you log into your devices, you make yourself vulnerable to the world or the people who can access all your devices. For example, the cyber attacks, they have increased by...
Have you seen Mother India? My last question.
Yes, sir.
So how was that family exploited by the Sahukar of the village?
So
because they were illiterate.
Yes, sir.
So what will happen when you put the digital currency on the devices of illiterate person who don't know anything about these things?
So the need is to not simply put made it compulsory or the thing, but it is about giving the digital education to people. First of all, they should be cautious about the credential. They should understand the value of a click or a button. That by entering some PIN or by saying a yes or no or putting a fingerprint, not being cautious about the data entry, that all of the data and the bank details could go to someone. So
Okay.
here we can do.
Okay, Shrusti. Nice interacting with you.
Thank you, sir.
Please. Shrusti,
Yes, sir.
let's start with Zumba first.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, who's Beto Perez?
So Beto Perez, he was the inventor, or I'll say the one who began with the innovation of the Zumba dance.
Okay. And which year?
Sir, it was around 2001, I remember, sir.
Okay. It's a combination of which two dances?
Sir, it's a combination of Rumba. It started with Rumba, Latin form. So it encompasses physical movements and Latin music on that, sir.
Okay. What is the caloric burnout in a Zumba class?
Sir, I'm not aware of the exact, but how much I burn. It's like, so 1.5 hour of a Zumba activity leads to 450 calories burn, sir.
Okay. What are the benefits of Zumba?
So benefits lie both mentally as well as physically. The major one being de-stressing with the beat of the music and physical movement. The second one being the physical strength, stamina building, and the muscular development that we see, sir.
Okay. There have been certain controversies. In which countries is Zumba banned?
Sir, I'm not aware about that.
Yeah, okay. There was a controversy in Israel, around in like 2013. Are you aware about this?
No, sir, I'll read upon that.
Okay. Any idea about whether Zumba is banned in Iran or not?
No, sir.
No? Okay. Let's move ahead. The next one is, let's go for Vipassana first.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So define meditation for me.
So meditation is that state of mind in which a person achieves his or her focus on the present and controlling the thoughts which trouble us, basically, sir.
Do you think it is sensible to control thoughts?
Sir, I believe it's a necessity to control thoughts because overflooding of thoughts and the overthinking in our minds disturbs our focus and unnecessarily distracts us from the needed tasks, sir.
Don't you think it is repeated thoughts rather than thoughts?
Sir, I think our humans have a tendency to overthink by human nature. So, for example, before coming to the interview, I should have been worried only about how will I speak. I was worried about what have I revised or not, what will I do, how the recurring things, sir. It was unnecessary. I should have been just confident about the things that, okay, I'll do howsoever it goes, I'll get the feedback. But I was constantly thinking about under pressure, basically, sir. So I think, sir, some unnecessary thoughts should be diverted, but the other should be kept, definitely, sir.
Okay. How is Vipassana different from Zen meditation?
So Zen meditation is, as far as I know, it is a more focused and longer duration form of meditation. But Vipassana, when I talk about, it provides flexibility and it has 3 parts. Basically, Vipassana constitutes the Anapan, the basic nose breathing exercise. The other major 70% constituting is the Vipassana itself, which makes you feel the whole of the sensations in your body, right from upper to lower and lower to upper. And the third being some Maitri, that we call it, wishing the other person also that, for example, I do meditation. I'll say that all of the happiness and mangal happens to me and everybody around me. But in the Zen form of meditation, it is a sole self-dedicated form of meditation, sir.
Okay. Right. Now, how would you compare Vipassana with, let's say, the meditations which are done using chanting, or tantra? A lot of places you're given a beat thread and you chant, right? How do you compare this to that?
So I'll say, as you mentioned about that chanting meditation known as transcendental meditation, we do it using Om or the birds chirping sound, etc. So that encompasses any external force, external presence of any external sound, beat, or any chanting in meditation. So it is known as guided meditation. But Vipassana is unguided meditation because here you have to use only your breathing. There is no external agent being participative. So the major difference lies there. As well as, as you use your own breathing, there is no sense of distraction apart from your thoughts. But in the other guided forms of meditation, there is, for example, if I'm chanting Om or any bird chirping, I can have that visualization in my mind. So that is not there in Vipassana. So, but both of them or all of the other forms of meditation have just same goal of attaining that peaceful state of mind, although the means are different, I think so, that to attain.
Okay. Now, all these forms of meditation have something to do with religion, right? So, do you think that religion plays a very strong role in meditation, or do you think they can be separately kept away from each other?
So, first of all, it's like we have associated meditation with religion, although because they have emanated from different religious philosophies. For example, Hinduism gives a different form of meditation. Buddhism philosophy gave Vipassana meditation. That is why we have associated it with religions. But when we go to the core of it, there is nothing of a religious mindset. It is just the philosophies that give religion. So, I think, sir, it should ideally be detached from the religious mindsets. Vipassana should be focused as a physical and a spiritual form of activity only, sir.
Okay. What is this hot ash baking?
So hot ash baking is that baking variety in which we use dry steam being provided to the cooker pressure. And when we place that dough and the mold in the cooker pressure, we place the ash under it, sand or ash under it, which leads to uniform baking and uniform heating, sir.
Okay, right. And what are the challenges with this?
So the challenges I think are more time it is required, because when we compare it to the other forms of baking, that is microwave or the radiation based baking, they do it very fast. One of the challenges is that. The other challenge is, for example, when you do it with pressure cooker or gas stove, you have to regulate a lot, low flame, mid flame, high flame. But in the microwave ovens, we can have all the uniformly set temperatures. But sir, the major advantage that it provides is radiations are considered harmful as it destroys the intended nutrients and the concentration in our foods. The other being, sir, there is some sense of taste that all of us must have consumed that dal bafle or bati that we talk about. Where it is, as we prepare it on the hot ash baking method, it does more of a uniform and enhanced taste and nutrition base, sir.
Okay. Organic kitchen gardening. The first question is how do you get time to do all these things and still prepare for civil services?
Sir, I have started with this organic kitchen gardening in the COVID time. My father is very passionate about gardening and consumption for the self. That why not plant our own trees and vegetables? Why buy everything and wait for that? So while being in home in the COVID time, in the lockdown, I started doing it with him. So initially it got that way. But sir, I do it like Vipassana in the morning for 20 minutes only. After that, I take a walk in the evening or in the morning and water those plants, check for the spraying of the organic fertilizer, accompany him in that part. So,
Okay, right, that's nice. Computer science. How good or bad you are in it? Right, you were good 3 years ago. How good are you now?
sir, I'll say that I haven't stopped learning about the technologies, because computer science, learning technology is an evolving field. You can never stop reading or learning about it, because every day it is evolving into something or the other. For example, so artificial intelligence used to be different for like 3 years ago, but today, as we talk about the chat GPT or something, it is totally different. So right,
Okay, yes and no, but okay.
yes, sir. So I think, sir, I'm continuously working on that so that I can keep gaining the knowledge about computer science.
Okay, right. What's a binary tree?
Binary tree.
Hmm.
So I'm aware about it so I can rephrase it the much I know if you want.
Okay, right.
So it is a form of data structure which talks about studying one node after the other. In a binary tree, from the parent node, two child nodes emerge, and then from those child nodes, other child nodes emerge in the form of 2 to the power n, that we talk about 1 to 2, 2 to 4, that way, sir.
Okay.
So I'll read more upon.
2 ki power n minus 1, right?
So 2 ki power n minus 1.
Okay, right. Pulkit.
Shrusti.
Yes, sir.
So optional is sociology, right?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what's the difference between hierarchy and stratification?
So hierarchy is considered as a vertical form of stratification. When we talk about the caste hierarchy, for example, so in the Varna system, if we talked about the Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, that was a vertical form, and that is known as hierarchy. But the form of stratification could lie within the layers of the hierarchy. For example, stratification between lower class and upper class, that is not rigid. So one difference is vertical and horizontal. The other being caste hierarchy is considered more rigid, and social mobility in hierarchy is a bit less possible. But while in stratification, it is more possible, so social mobility.
Okay. So vertical versus horizontal.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who gave the idea of modernization of Indian tradition?
So modernization of Indian tradition was given by Yogendra Singh.
Can you give me 3 examples around you which represent this idea of modernization of Indian tradition?
So modernization of Indian tradition, for example, so the phenomena of universalization and parochialism is under this modernization of Indian tradition. I'll give examples from that. So for example, we used to celebrate festivals, but nowadays marriages are being, in the COVID times, they are being held online also. So there is some modernization in the Indian tradition that marriages do happen, But in the digital era, COVID weddings have happened digitally, that acceptance. So modernization of Indian tradition, the other example being, so earlier they used to be cremation and burial physically, but now it is possible through electric cremation. So sir, modernization has happened there also. So this much only I can recollect.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Shrusti. What we can do is now your formal interview is over.
So,
We have all asked this. So, how have you felt that you have fared? What about your performance?
sir, I think I have to work up a lot on static computer engineering part. For example, Zumba sir opened new aspects which I was not aware. So I'll work on that. And sir, I have to redo a lot of work on the knowledge that I have.
When is your interview?
So after 10th March, the dates
After
are not
10th
out.
March. So you have got time.
Yes, sir.
But from our perspective, I would say we will give you the feedback. You have performed very well because this interview is not really a test of your knowledge per se. You can always have some few fact-based things that you don't know or you may not recollect at that point of time. There's no problem. The way is how you answer to that. Your sincerity, either way of saying that you don't know because you are not supposed to know everything all the time. But the way you have communicated, the way you have reasoned out the answers, that has been very good. So there is no problem in that. Since you have got time, because we can't predict what will be the questions asked from you because there can be variety of people over there and all these current affairs may change. But basic thing, whatever questions we have asked is basically from your Dev 1, Dev 2. So you have to master that. You prepare a question bank of that and try to just answers those, also prepare those answers to that and internalize those so that you are able to answer properly. Second thing was all the current affairs because by the time budget will be there, budget, I think that may also be what some other new things may come. But you have to be aware of about international things which is happening, like G20, because we have not asked those questions, but G20 is very important. India is trying to project itself as a leader of Global South, all those developing countries. Similarly about Ukraine war, which is going on and on, different aspects of that. People would like to know slightly more depth because one thing is very simple, but what is India's stand? What is the reason of that stand? What are the pluses and minuses of that stand? Similarly, who is financing whom? What is this going on that two countries at the same time are saying we are not at war with each other like US or the NATO countries with USSR, Russia? They're not saying that we are at war with each other, but they are financing war also. What is this? So you have to see that who is benefiting from it, what are the reasons behind that. So those kind of current in-depth issues you have to prepare. And you must be reading the newspaper. So the broad issues which are going on, like foreign universities permitting, they have been allowed to set up campus, plus and minuses of that. That all those op-ed things you should go about. So broadly, I would say that your performance has been good. You can just improve upon that. This is the first time you'll be at the interview stage, right? So try to do that. You would like to say something?
Yeah, Shrusti, just most relevant things have been told to you. Work on them. You would have a lot of time. Look, when it comes to knowledge and information, there are some things which you will be excused. Okay, inko nahi pata, let it go. And some other things are so fundamental and basic that you will not be excused for that. Like computer engineering. And you cannot tell me what task manager is in a laptop. This is so fundamental. You just cannot afford to miss it.
सृष्टि क्या हुआ जान के डक किया क्या
नहीं
नहीं
sir,
सर
Like RAM and ROM. Frankly speaking, when I thought of asking you, putting you a question on RAM, I thought that it is too elementary for you.
Sir, I was sir. The
Too
fact
elementary.
is, some things are very basic.
No, don't explain. Just listen and then you will react later. Look, there are two things. We don't belong to computer age. We learned it. For us, it is a learned skill. You people belong to computer age. For you, it is not a learned skill. It is part of your personality. It is part of your being. So you need to be more alive. Okay, it's a personality trait, isn't it? You need to be more inquisitive. When you power on your laptop and you are a computer engineer, your mind should work. What is happening on the screen and what is happening behind? You will become district magistrate and there is a computerization program and vendors will come with their offers. How will you know that which is better? Which is my requirement? The hardware will have lifespan of say 5 years or maximum 7 years. So what upgradation I will need for 5 to 7 years? And this is it. I'm not installing some computerization for developing rockets. And the vendors will come, कि मैं तो आप rocket भी बना सकती हैं, which will go in the outer space. You're getting the applied part of it. Two, when Mr. Shaktikant Das, who is Mr. Shaktikant Das?
So the RBI, ex-RBI governor.
Huh? X? Did you say X?
So RBI governor.
Yeah, I have, my knowledge is now dated. Something happened today morning. Okay. So when he decided to go about introduction of cash, this digital currency, he may be having a very elaborate, calibrated thing up in his mind. Journalist will pick up one thing: RBI has decided to introduce digital currency. So headlines. Now you are catching that headline, and then you go overboard justifying that. There are always pros and there are always cons. Your communication skills are up to the mark. You can very well handle pro and cons, or then give a balanced answer. You can qualify it by saying this is as per my current level of understanding. झगड़ा नहीं करना है. Don't go overboard justifying something which is still evolving, which is still debatable. It is work in progress. It is evolving. We are 75-year-old since we got our independence. We haven't achieved universal elementary education. So universal elementary digital education will take another few decades, if not 75 years. So how you protect people during those 2-3 decades from digital frauds and all that? Now you are on this side of the fence. When you come on this other side of the fence, you will discover that so much of digital frauds are happening. So, कभी उसमें आप don't restrain from going overboard. Don't take that stance of an activist. Your idea when you are aspiring to become an IAS, you have to take a balanced view on whatever issue comes to you. You have to see this side, you have to see that side. Okay? You are a good candidate, you can make it. Just keep in mind these, some fundamental basic precautions. और जो चीज बेसिक फंडामेंटल है वहां पे एक्सक्यूज नहीं होगा. समझ गए? यू विल नॉट बी एक्सक्यूज्ड फॉर दैट. ऑल राइट. आपने सोशियोलॉजी आपका ऑप्शनल है और आप संस्कृत सभी को नहीं डिफाइन कर पाए, तो फिर यू विल नॉट बी एक्सक्यूज्ड. दिस इज सो. You want to say? Yeah.
Shrusti, overall you were okay, your knowledge base was, but you were going beyond what the question was. So avoid that. Listen to the question, focus on that. Brief answers. You're going beyond. It's not required. For some things, yes, it's required, but not for every question that is asked. You can, you need not go much beyond what this, more precise focus should be there on your answer. So just practice a little bit on that. And also for your, you kept saying, as you said. I think avoid that also. I felt it was not okay to keep saying, as you said. All right. I don't know what the others think, but I thought it was not all right. So avoid that and brush up your current affairs. G20, I didn't ask you. I asked you the other day, but today I haven't asked you. But it's okay for you to have a broad overview, but it's important,
Yes, ma'am.
right? India, Africa has become important with Egypt. You know, the president was here, so a little bit of information on that. So you'd have to be very current, keep reading your newspapers, formulate your answers. So when a question is asked, listen to it fully. You're not, sometimes you are, you know, answering straight away. Just give it a little thought and then start speaking so that your answer becomes more focused. And practice a little bit, put down points and write down issues and put points in front of it. And so that when you question is asked or any current affair, you can formulate it a little better and give a little focus. So there are many current issues. Of course, G20 is one of the most current, but at the same time, Quad, AUKUS, Ukraine war, all that, as mentioned by the chair, very rightly, you must know basics about all these things. So you will do much better, but good, overall good. All the best.
Okay, right. So Shrusti,
Yes, sir.
see, in a UPSC interview, there are 6 pillars. Now, the first is mental alertness. The second is logical exposition of thoughts. Third is depth and variety of interest. Then we have leadership and social cohesion, intellectual integrity, and critical powers of assimilation. Right? Now, let's try to understand your interview using these 6 areas. Now, mental alertness is not just in you coming in and being alert about what you're looking alert or something. It is about your listening skills, right? Across the interview, sometimes the interview gets longer, and it's difficult to sometimes hear the panelist that well. So listening skills is something that is there. Like logical exposition of thoughts. So they'll give you questions like, I ask you to define meditation. Now, very tricky thing to do. Okay, so what am I checking there? How logically you can communicate with me about a thing which is abstract in some ways. Okay, right? Depth of interest. So Zumba, depth. So I asked you from where did it start and how it went. Okay, then how many calories do you normally burn? What are the various types of Zumba sessions which are happening these days? Right, controversies related to it, where it is banned, and so on. So depth. Okay, then I asked you that you do Zumba, you do organic gardening, you do ash baking, Vipassana. How do you get so much time? So that is me praising you. So when you praise, what are you supposed to do? So leadership and social cohesion says deflect praise on others. Rule number 1 is, if I say, right, that Shrusti, you're very beautiful, you're supposed to say, it is all because of good genes of my mother. Right? Deflect praise always. Right? Understand that? As a civil servant, deflect praise. Never let it, because there's going to be no dearth of psychophants in your life. Right? Then critical powers of assimilation. Right? So Zen meditation versus Vipassana. Okay? Then I asked you that chanting meditation question. So I'm trying to ask you to assimilate all you said and then try to answer that. Then intellectual integrity. Here we had this issue in the beginning that you tended to answer. You were going fine. You missed the point that the digital currency, the main savings is from the cost of printing. That was the thing sir was looking for, and
Which
he was
said
giving
towards the end.
And he was like, okay, bol degi, abhi bol degi, sir. Sir was just waiting for like, abhi bolegi, right? Somehow you didn't say that, happens, not a big deal. But then you misspoke about inflation and fluctuation, right? तब तक बढ़िया जा रहा था. अब वहाँ क्या हुआ? So there you tended to answer. So there is this tendency to answer, right? You have to cut it down. Say, I don't know. Or I'm unable to point out that things are maybe what you're looking for. Right? Control the conversation.
Okay,
right? Because what happens when we talk to elders, हमें मन करता है आंसर करना. ठीक है ना? Right? We want to somehow get their approval. Right? As children, we have this tendency that if there's somebody elder and they're asking a question, we want their approval. कि वो बोल दे कि हाँ बहुत बढ़िया है. It's an interview, not required. Right? So ये ध्यान रखना है. right? I like your communication skills, so that's there. Computer science prepare kar sakte hain. We have time. Standard questions, prepare the ones. Assume you're going for a Google interview or Amazon, Microsoft one. But see, that's a reality, right? Even if, let's say, forget about this. Let's say you go for an IIM Ahmedabad interview or a UPSC interview, right? Somehow the other side behaves as Google, right? So we could try to. So they will check your depth of interest somewhere. Computer science is an easy method of checking, right? Okay, so all algorithm data structures will be opened, right? Okay, then they will ask you applied questions. Applied questions are easy to handle, right? The technical ones are like a little harder, and because 2-3 years is a decent amount of time to forget everything, but still, right? You have time, so you can revise all that. So should not be hard, right, Pulkit?
Any other question? Oh, sorry.
Pulkit?
So, Shrusti, not a lot of things. Already, most of the things have been pointed out. Just that make your answers crisp. I asked you just a couple of questions and you could have finished them in like maybe 1 or 2 sentences. Whereas you took 3 or 4 or maybe 5 sentences. So cut down on that. Practice your answers, rehearse your answers and make them crisp.
Any other questions you want to?
No, sir.
आपको कुछ पूछना है?
Thanks, I've got the feedback.
One thing I would say, because generally that's what people like, technical people would like to say, that your knowledge of computer engineering will contribute to civil services a lot. And you go into the technical detail that you'll know computers, so you'll know about the computerization. Forget about that. That's not what your knowledge will do, because there are experts to guide you. Your technical knowledge will be obsolete by the time you will be in a more as you advance. Don't get into that field. That just because you're a computer, you will remain the computer expert for the next 10 years, because you are not supposed to know. There will be expert. You are guided by the experts. Get the best expert to arrive at a decision. So don't get into what you have gained through your technical expertise is data crunching, your analytical abilities. That's what you will apply in the current administrative field. That is most important.
That wisdom part.
Your familiarity with numbers, familiarity with chart, familiarity with analysis. Because sometimes all people are not are bestowed up by that faculty. And modern administration is all about getting detail. But at the same time, as they say, is a thin slicing is also there. You don't have to go into detail without deciding anything. Administration is all about deciding also, finally, at finite time. You don't have all the time in the world to make an analysis, research and all that, and then to arrive at a decision. Sometimes you have to arrive at a decision in a fraction of hours, seconds, on the spot. So please, so avoid that kind of thing that you have learned computer engineering and you will apply that. No, there will be expert available to you. Or if they are not available, you will take the assistance of expert and pay for that.
आपका काम है ये देखना कि जो एक्सपर्ट्स कह रहे हैं वो रीजनेबल है कि नहीं.
That you have to.
फॉर एग्जांपल आपको बॉर्डर डिफेंस के लिए, सपोजिंग यू आर इन द पुलिस साइड एंड यू आर DG ITBP, go on to become, and now the department is buying binoculars for the border guarding forces. The vendors comes, that sir, here is a binocular which has 20x capacity or 30x capacity. So you can put the question that handheld binocular will not be studied beyond 15x.
That's so.
So why should I buy 20x or 30x? I will need tripod. So your knowledge will be, this way of use. So you need to be clear on fundamentals, so that you are not misguided. All right.
Okay. All the best. You will make it. Yeah.
Thank
Please
you.
do. Yeah.